You're listening to a Lost in the Groove segment.
Having good vibes with your bones and joints. Taking a trip into the groove. American groove into stoner world. Gonna
You know,
it's funny because, like, when you're like 90 minutes away from the city, from New York City, you're automatically a hippie or a hillbilly. Like, automatically. It's like immediately you're off the George Washington Bridge. It's like you're hippie, and you're just like, bro, I just did like crack once in the fucking high school when I was like 16, bro. Like, I'm not that hippie, but I don't get it.
the hippies do crack.
Probably. I mean, it was the
Some
80s.
hippies, but that's not a typical hippie drug.
Who fucking knows? Like, everybody was fucking tripping balls in the 70s. Like, everybody was on fucking cocaine and shit, in the 80s. Like, who knows what these people were on?
Yeah, there's probably some crack.
Magical
different
crack.
regions.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like going to a vending machine. You got all the flavors of Coca-Cola, and Pepsi, but it's just crack. That's the difference. Yeah, we're starting off this podcast talking about crack cocaine.
Which I've never done.
Oh my God, never. Yeah, let's talk about illegal drugs that can definitely get a sense of prison.
I really actually have never done crack. Like, that's not just like me being sarcastic. Like,
I've never done crack either. Thank God. I mean, hello. I'm sane so far.
Like, I've done some fun things, but meth and crack are not one of them.
Oh, fun things for sure. Yes, indeed, Carissa.
I have a friend that accidentally smoked crack one time. I'm like, how? Like,
I never believe anybody that tells me that you don't smoke crack accidentally. You're in the know of when that thing is happening. I mean,
because it's a different device. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you could put it in a joint. I mean, that is.
It's just like maybe somebody had sprinkled some crack on top of a bowl and she didn't know about it. Is the only thing
that you're thinking of right now.
Yeah, but people always used to be like worried about joints being like laced. Like, they'd be like, your joint could be laced, and it's like, with what? They put like crack through it? Like,
you know what? I mean, if you fucking put LSD in there, I'll be tripping balls for 18 hours, bro. I mean,
LSD doesn't need like flame and smoke. You don't have to smoke. You don't have to smoke it.
No, you can put LSD in somebody's water and they wouldn't know the difference. Yeah. That's kind of wild.
Oh yeah, one time when I did LSD, we put it in water.
Oh, okay, so now we're talking about drugs now. Okay, cool. Great. So you put it in water, I see.
It was a really good trip. It was probably one of the last ones I ever did.
There will be more, Carissa, no worries.
It might be the actual last trip I ever did. 4th of July.
Are you telling me that your last hurrah was LSD? Wow.
I mean, it might be the last time I like tripped, but I mean, I guess I would think that the very, very last time I did anything like that would be at Burning Man in 2019. I can't really, I don't think I have done anything like that since then. Like, I think I came back and I feel like my life just wasn't very party anymore.
Party savvy? Party family size?
I don't know. It just like I came back. That would have been September.
Do you remember?
October, November, December, January.
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, I might have had fun on that New Year's, but that time led into the pandemic, because it's 2019 and then I had like 6 months before the pandemic happened. And I didn't really have a lot of finances in between Burning Man and the pandemic. And then I really didn't have any finances. So I wasn't like, let's let loose, let's party, let's go on vacations and, take drugs and, do pool parties with friends. Like stuff kind of died down a little
Let's
bit.
chill out, bro. Let's vibe.
Stuff died down. I tried to focus more on making money, working. I was working on the candle company a lot back then, and then all of a
Back in the
sudden the
day.
pandemic hit, and then there was no party. I can't remember if we ever did any mushrooms in the house, during the pandemic or anything like that. If I don't remember it, I'm thinking it didn't happen. I don't think we
I
ever
I
did any party drugs.
I
Yeah.
did laced edibles.
Yeah, I mostly just smoked weed. That was pretty much it. Or
Smoked a lot of
laced.
weed.
What is a laced edible, David?
So that means that there's been added things to it to
Well, yeah,
enhance.
but like, what did they lace it with?
I don't remember all of the ingredients, but it was where I was tripping balls for like 7 hours. Yeah, about 7 hours.
I found a cartridge.
That's nice.
It's really nice in one of the only no marijuana states in America. I
It's
really
also
wish
democratic.
my ass is driving to Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah,
Missouri.
my grandma said it that way, Missouri.
Oh my god, those
And now that I've said that my ass is driving to Missouri on the podcast, I think that the Iowa cops are crazy enough that they would actually like use this against me.
the amount of energy they put into their travel to Dunkin' Donuts is more emphasis than they'll have on this podcast.
It's just really funny to me because I come from Los Angeles, and so like it's just crazy to think that like they would put any effort into like a person like just having some weed for themselves. Like I'm just like, what? Like, but they care. They genuinely care.
Like, I'm no offense, but what other else things do they have better to do? I mean, they're in Iowa. No offense, but like
you can't get away with anything here because like it would just stick out like a sore thumb. Like, like it's just. I mean, the other thing though is like there's only so many cops, so like if you wanted to do like a perfect crime, you just set up 2 crimes at once. One of them you get caught for, and the other one you don't. But the cops out here are a different story, and they're the cops that I grew up with. But it's weird to think that they would care. It's just funny because I mean, I've lived in California for like, most of my adult life, pretty much all of my adult life.
you don't
So
say.
it's really funny. Look, you see my nails? They're so pretty.
They're
This
very
is maybe
pretty.
my favorite. I want to put them all over my face in the video. Like, look at my nails. But this is
La
probably my
Rouge.
favorite nail job I've had in like, I mean, a good like 4 years.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I was like, I'm coming back. Like, I was
I'm
like,
rolling.
holy shit, girl.
Yeah,
Like,
girl.
I finally feel like I have like nails that I like. If you're only listening, she filed my nails into like a very beautiful, like rounded almond shape. And she asked me, she was like, what do you want for shape, for your nails? And I was like, what do you think would look good? Like it's like, how many times like do you have like a professional who like does this for a living and they ask you what you want? It's like, try and turn that around because they're going to know like what's best and what looks the best on you. And also like maybe she's better at doing this type of shape and that's why she prefers doing it. So I want the best of whatever she can do and I got it. I mean, I have never been so happy with my nails, to be honest. Like,
I went to nail school,
they're
cosmetology
amazing.
school, and I do my own nails.
Yeah.
So I don't really have to trust anybody because I do them myself.
Mhm.
So, and it's kind of, yes, I'm doing my nails on the podcast.
I was filing my nails on the last podcast.
It's very, I don't know, it's very relaxing and it's kind of meditative in a way. God,
Self-care.
wow, this podcast, it's crazy because the amount of weed and marijuana you put in my system, the amount of nakedness you can get. I mean, you go from drugs to health and well-being. Let's say it together. Health and well-being.
Health and well-being.
Let's create more diversity.
Well, what do I call this? I call this a lifestyle podcast. Always, I'm like, it's, I'm like, it's a
Technically,
weird podcast. I call it a lifestyle podcast.
I mean,
Like,
technically, it's talk show.
it's a talk
Kind of.
show.
It's kind of like a talk show. I mean,
Yeah.
with all of our shenanigans and craziness and meow, meow, meow.
I think that we know what we're going to eventually talk about. So you and I are both kind of like just kind of talking about other stuff for a second before the conversation
Well,
goes where it's going to go.
the-
We know where we're going to end up.
no,
But
we
right
know.
now we're kind of just warming up to just talking like we usually do.
Well, I'm trying to avoid a very heavy topic because
I know we're only 10 minutes in, so
I know.
we don't have to go there yet, but we will. But go on.
No. And I did make a video today where I spoke out. I generally don't, do those kind of things, but I felt it was important. And I felt that it was important because it's not something I can keep quiet about, and it's not something that I can hide from. I mean, if you feel this is too early to talk about, then sure.
No,
But-
I mean, like, I think we can talk about you. And then, we could talk about the entire thing too. But I think that it's important to talk about you and your relationship here with what is going on and what you're going through. And, I mean, this is David and Carissa's podcast. And I mean, this is a David thing. Like, if I was going through something, I would hope that we would talk about it. And I think that, you're my best friend, and it puts me in a very interesting situation too. Like, I don't know, I feel like I know a little bit more about things that are happening than I ever would have because I know you. And so I feel like people are misunderstanding things, and they're only looking at things from the perspective that it's been shown to them from. And I have no personal interaction with anything, but I have a personal interaction with a friend of mine who is a person that I care about. And that's what I care about, is the people in my life and supporting my friends in what they're going through.
because
I just care about David, but I care about everybody, but I care about David,
it's you bring up an excellent point, and to get the elephant out of the room, what we're talking about is the recent terrorist attacks that took place with Hamas in Israel. And the thing for me is, try to picture this. When we had the Ukrainian conflict that broke out, when Russia invaded Ukraine, and keep in mind that there are a lot of Ukrainians that live in the United States, many of them. And because, a lot of Russians and Ukrainians have family together, both on Russian and Ukrainian sides. So there were people here that were suffering because they had family over there that were, their homes, their villages were being destroyed, and they didn't know what was going on. And there was all this outpour and support that was coming in. And it was amazing. The thing is, right now, for me personally, my family, my immediate family, most of my family, live in Israel. And it's terrifying to me because on top of that, I have friends that live in Israel. And they've had friends that have been murdered and killed. So this has affected me personally because, I look at this and I have to say to myself, When have we ever seen a time like this of act of just pure violence? I think of Nazi Germany. You know, we think about, we're in 2023. That's 1940, what? 1939, 1940, and then 1945. That's almost over 70 years ago. Like, the realization that there are people that are excusing the behavior of this is disgusting. It's disgusting.
I don't watch the news,
It's not about the news. It's about what
like
I
I've said.
personally. It's what I
Yeah, of
personally have
course.
seen, and it's like,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, is that I don't watch the news. So everything that I know from people,
yeah, actual people that are there. You know,
actual
people,
people.
friends that I know, for example, on Facebook, that are by the campuses and are taking videos of these insane protests that are going on. And again, not to get political, it's the fact that
It's not
keep
about
in
politics.
keep in mind, just like Ukrainians had family that were suffering, think about my family and all the other families. I'm not the only person here in the United States that has family abroad. Many of us do. And many of us right now, we have to constantly worry and think, because it is a reality that their lives can be in jeopardy any minute. That is a realization for me.
Yeah.
So
It's terrifying.
it is terrifying. And the problem that I face is no one has the right to tell my narrative. And for some odd reason, a lot of people think that they can. I don't think there's any excuse for it. I don't think there's any right for it. And it's very painful when I want to keep quiet because I want to stay neutral, but at the same time, it's like, for what purpose? So I shut the fuck up so some asshole that doesn't know anything about the country at all says whatever the fuck they want to say? No.
And they don't even
Absolutely
have
not.
loved ones. They don't even have people, friends that they know involved at all. To me, it's about supporting friends, about supporting people in their hard times. I can't imagine, I worry all the time about things that could never happen. So you're worrying about something that could happen. Like it's like people, I mean, now, in the United States, Jewish people don't feel as safe as they did last week.
Why should we?
I
We
know.
haven't
And
we
so it's
haven't
like,
felt we haven't felt we haven't felt safe since the pandemic. I mean, since the riots have been
yeah,
breaking out.
it's true. It's been a rough time.
It has
But
been,
I'm
honey.
saying, like, even more so, like, Jewish people don't feel comfortable. I mean, it's not for me to say, because, everybody's different. I don't
No,
know every
you can
single
speak your
one.
voice. You can
But
say
what
how
I
you
think
feel.
is that I see from my perspective that there are Jewish people that don't feel as safe here as maybe they did 2 weeks ago. And that is something that I just should be addressed, like that, I mean, I I don't think that it's a good idea to draw the comparisons with what happened with Ukraine. Like, I know that they're not the same thing, but
I'm using that comparison because the people that are voicing these opinions are the same people that supported the Ukrainians during that conflict.
and so I'm saying that they are two different situations,
Correct.
but like, did I see a lot of Ukrainians feel unsafe in America once that started? And so I'm saying I don't like to draw comparisons, but
That
it
is a
is a
good
way that
comparison.
people think. It's a way that we solve problems. It's a way that we think. It's a way that we analyze as human beings. It's the way that I think. And I think, people they feel unsafe here, and they didn't, but with Ukraine, I remember I remember a lot of support and love. And I mean, the American people, with the pandemic, there were so many things that happened where people reacted in ways that I would never think that they would. Like, I was just completely blown away by the things that I would hear that people say. I am completely blown away. So honestly, I am completely blown away with the reactions that I have seen here in the US related to the attacks on Israel, the recent attacks on Israel. And
You know what?
what's weird is how much confusion there is. A lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
don't understand a damn thing about any of it. And it's weird because it's not hard to Google it and figure out like the history. I mean,
Right.
the other thing that I wanted to not forget to
Or
bring
actually
up.
go there, believe it or not. Like, actually go there for a visit and actually experience Israel. But yeah, go on.
No, yeah. The censorship stuff. Like when you tried to send me things of your family members and you tried to send me things on Facebook of your family members who live there and of your friends and their friends and stuff.
All
And
blocked.
it's all blocked when I go. It says, information not available, or, like this content is no longer posted when it is still posted. I screenshotted all of it, the reasons
I
that it
know.
would give me that I'm not able to look at your friends or your family members' posts
And
in
these are
Israel. I'm
clips.
not allowed to look
These are
at any of
clips.
them.
These are clips that have been taking place in the country itself. So the thing is that, like, I'm showing you information that's actually going on there, not what's going on here in all the conversations, all the talk, what's actually going on there. Because just like what happened in Ukraine, the actual fact, the actual reality was seen through those clips from the people that were by that site. Sorry.
I mean, why now, do you think? Like, why is it now that the attack has happened? I know that it's irrelevant, but I am curious, like, what do you think made this spark up right now?
I think one thing that we should get into, and this is something that I discussed with you yesterday, and this is why I feel it's very important for people to visit Israel at least once in their life, whether religious or non religious, for the very simple fact of this. The problem over there has absolutely nothing to do with the people. Generally. Okay, you want to go into ultra Orthodox and strict Islamic groups and ultra Orthodox Jewish groups, we could talk about that from today until tomorrow. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about general Israeli and Palestinian citizens. General people. The issue is two problems. Palestinian government is completely corrupt, and the Israeli government is completely corrupt. So both sides have completely corrupted governments. The issue is these two sides, these two governments, have wars with each other. That's the problem.
And so the only way to get back at the other government is to destroy its people.
Destroy, so in this case, destroy its terror. So Israel's responding with destroying Hamas, which is a good thing. But again, it's a government against government. It has nothing to do about the citizens. And again, this is the problem where people do not understand.
But it's the citizens that are getting murdered.
Correct. And the people that have been suffering because of it. And the thing that people have to understand is the conflict has never been about people. It's never been about the citizens. How fucked up is that? It's never been about Israelis, and it's never been about Israelis and Palestinians.
It's a fight between their governments.
Correct.
Because you told me people of all, religions live inside of Israel and identify as Israelis.
So the best example I always tell people is the Old City. And this is one of the places that you can see this for your very own eyes. If you walk around in the Old City, you will see Christians, Muslims, and Jews. There's different quarters. Everybody mingles with one another to a certain extent. And when you walk around, you see how there's mosques, synagogues, and churches in this one place, next to where the holy temple once stood, where now you have the holy mosque. So there's all of these holy sites from different faiths in one holy place. That goes to show you how the people that come to the land, the people that come to live there, even with faith, have that connection of community and congregation. That's the beautiful part.
Yeah, there are different types of people coexisting with one another.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what exactly is Hamas? I mean, people are starting to explain what they think it is. I mean, to me, they don't represent all of Palestine. But am I wrong?
They represent their terrorist organization based in Gaza. So the Palestinians have two states of territory, the West Bank and Gaza. Gaza is where primarily Hamas has been stationed and where they have spread havoc and terror.
Now, but they're not all of Palestine. Like, they're not
No.
They don't represent every Palestinian person.
However, the West Bank has its own problems. Again, this could take up a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah.
But they're as corrupt, if not more, than Gaza. Just process that for a second.
But there are Palestinian people that don't agree with Hamas, right?
Many people do not agree with Hamas.
And that's what I'm saying is, like, by saying that you're not behind Hamas and their actions, you're not saying that you're anti-Palestine. Like, you're not like saying I don't like all Muslim people or something. Like, you're not saying that. Like, there's Muslim people that live in Israel and coexist with Jewish people in the same cities, so it's like,
just to give you an example, okay? And this was a horrible thing that happened. There are people in Gaza, Palestinians. They work in Clalit, which is like a medical center. They work in hospitals. They work in daycares. They work in Israel, and they help and take care. I've met many of these people. You see them all the time. You don't think twice. They're nurses. They take care of people. They're great people. Hamas murdered them because they went to work in Israel, even though they were living in Gaza and they were Palestinian. But they were murdered because they chose to help. And it's like, these are nurses. Remember you went to nursing school? These are people who went to nursing school. These are people that, had lives and careers. And it's trying to understand that, again, if you actually live there, you understand that people coexist with each other all the time. It's like seeing Muslims is normal. Seeing Jews is normal. Seeing nuns is normal. Like, you see Christians. I remember bumping into Christians all the time. It's normal. It's like when you get it out of your head that this idea of chaos is all a matter about who is going to hold the king or the queen on the chessboard. And who is going to be the person that's sneakishly enough that's going to take the knight or the bishop. Sorry, I watched a lot of Queen's Gambit. Still stuck in my brain a little.
It's a very intense, because when you watch Queen's Gambit, you watch it all at once. There's really no other way to do it.
No.
And so it gets real into the head, like, very intensely.
But that's what Hamas did, though. They kind of took the knight and the bishop. They did that sneakish move you don't generally place.
The violence.
Yeah.
The violence is enough reason, it's not okay. The rampant insanity violence.
It never aids anything.
It's way too, because it's not two wars fighting against each other. It's like, it's like murdering innocent people. I have never really heard or seen anything quite like it. It's pretty fucking nuts. And so I feel like, yeah, it just can't be okay because it's just inhumane. I I
That's
feel like,
why
yeah, I feel like that type of violence is just, it's
some
really almost theatrical in a
it's
way.
it's so like unnecessary. And like the thing that I think about is people have to get it in their heads like Israeli people are not at war with Palestinian people, and Palestinian people are not at war with Israeli people. It's like I have to come to the realization that you know who my family is? My family are Moroccans. You know, my uncle, he was one of the first people from my family that left Morocco, and he came to Israel and he settled there, and slowly but surely my family started to come in there. My uncle helped build, the foundation for my family, and it's like he created a legacy, and it's so beautiful to see that. And why on earth would I want to see that get destroyed? Why on earth anybody would want to see that destroyed? Like all of the incredible businesses and things that my relatives have done, from fashion to makeup to design to real estate to so many different things.
Agriculture.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah,
You
that
have
is funny you bring that up because I do have a
family that
relative in
farm.
agriculture. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of
Yeah, go on.
Sorry. No, it's just it's a hot topic for me, and I try to stay neutral, but when it comes to my family, I can't stay quiet. They know that's not right, and I know it's not right to them at all. So
I think by saying that I don't agree with the violence doesn't really mean that I'm taking one side or the other. I'm just saying I don't like the murder
I don't
of
like that either.
of people. Like it
I don't think
just
that's okay.
can't.
I think that's terrible.
No. It's one thing if someone attacks you and you fight back. There is something about who threw the first stone. Like it is something to consider. Like, and the intense violence. Like I understand neither side of people should get killed. Like I don't think it's good to just kill back. But I'm sorry, but somebody started it, and it's quite intense, and it's I mean, like that music festival thing. Those people are all completely unarmed. Like it's I mean, I've been at a music festival a million times. I know people who knew people that were at the festival. It's freaky, like it's
Do you know what's crazy?
murdering people while they're trying to have fun
Do you know
is
what's crazy?
not
Do you know what's
is not
crazy? Do you know that festival was there to raise funds for Palestinian citizens?
I don't know.
How crazy is that?
Does
Okay.
anybody want to defend the murder of the people at the music festival? I'd like to see that. Like I mean, not really, but like anybody who is like throwing some big bitch fit on the internet, like go ahead. Like give me your explanation for why that was okay. Oh,
I
it's
know.
not fucking okay.
It's not. It's really
No.
not. It's really not okay. And it's just like, where does this end?
I don't think there is any way to end it.
I don't know. I don't think so either.
I don't think killing back is really like the solution in any way whatsoever. But
It's the only option right now.
I think if these people, honestly want to just continue to murder people in the way that they have been, then like I don't really understand what else you could do other than murder them.
The
Like,
fact that
they're
have
outnumbered.
I wanted to touch on something that you might find really fascinating. So, in Hebrew, letters have numerical value, and also words have derived meanings.
Yeah,
So they come from
yeah.
other words. So, Hamas is actually a word in Hebrew. It comes from, the root is chok. From chok, you get chet, and then Hamas. So, what is chok? Chok loosely translates to a mysterious law, a law that's placed that has unknown origin. We don't know where it comes from. Chet is an unknown sin. So it has a mysterious origin, but it's an unknown sin.
What does that mean? A sin that is unknown? Like
Okay,
it's
so-
like okay, go out.
A great example would be let's just say you kill somebody in self-defense.
Is that still a sin?
That's called a chet. It's like, I hope I'm saying this correctly. It's been a while since I've been in yeshiva. But it's a sin that you placed. It's hard to explain. It's basically like, in that situation, you did sin by killing somebody, but at the same time, you protected yourself, which is also a good deed. So it's kind of an in-between. Hamas is a mysterious destruction. So it's a destruction that happens from unknown origin. Chok, Chet, Hamas.
What do you think that means?
So the way that I translate from this, God, I sound like a fucking rabbi. I did not get smicha. That's basically rabbinical terms of your doctorate. What I learned from this is these all come from unknown origins. What I think about is whenever you have something like this happen at this kind of level, you have to think and say, there's some bigger dog at the table. Chok, Chet, Hamas.
I mean, I always question everything that's going on. Like, yeah, sure. I know the only thing I do know is that I know that what I'm being shown is not real in the way that they're showing it. Like I know the only thing I know is that they are manipulating me. So who knows what's actually fucking happening. I mean, I do know that people are being murdered. I know that. I do know that my friend is worried about his family, but I'm saying as far as like,
there's no hostages. They're all dead.
so what makes you think that they're all dead?
Because there's unfortunately a very known thing about Hamas. They have no mercy. So they don't care about, the ironic thing is, you remember in The Dark Knight?
Makes me sick.
You remember in The Dark Knight when Joker burns that big pile of cash?
Fuck yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah. Hamas is kind of like that. They don't care.
He slid down it like right before he like was on top of the money and like slid down the side of it.
Okay, so
I don't like that you're relating Hamas to the Joker, but I mean, I guess.
But I'm giving
that's one of my favorite parts of the movie, and then now I'm like, wait, I can't cheer for the Joker at that moment.
But
okay, go on. I slaughtered it. I talked all over your point. Go ahead.
The reference I'm trying to give is that Hamas's intention is this: they don't keep hostages because they know that in the end of the day they're going to lose. So they're going to lose something in return. So what they basically do is they just kind of pump up and like, yeah, give us money, and we'll give you hostages. But in reality, there's nothing there. They're just bluffing. They're just giving themselves time. They don't care that they're getting themselves destroyed because they know that it's like every man for himself. It's kind of sick. Like, in themselves, they don't even care about each other. It's like whoever can survive will like continue and then like catch on more and then continue on. It's just like they're almost like replaceables. Okay, I'll give you a great point of this, right?
Yeah, I understand I get it.
A friend of mine posted a video of somebody that was one of the hostages that survived. Okay, out of 30 people, they only had 4 that survived. You know what he said? He said that he had to drag himself out of there with his leg being torn out of his shin because they could not escape. He had a broken arm and a broken leg just so he can escape. This is how vicious these people are.
What do you mean? You mean he got away from them, and in that process his arm was broken?
He said that they retaliated and a few of them were able to get out. So they were kind of in a room. He said they were in a large room, and they retaliated and pushed back, broke through the door.
Broke their
He-
own arm in the process of breaking
yeah,
out.
and he tried to get out, and one of the members tried grabbing his leg. Again, this was like a auto caption because he was speaking in Hebrew, and it was kind of hard to hear. So I was kind of like reading it, but it was just.
Wow.
It's just horrifying. It's really horrifying to think that this is 2023 and like what the fuck? Like this is shit you'd think would happen like 100 years ago, you know, maybe like 200 years ago. Like haven't we grown past this? Haven't we realized that like this has never been the answer?
Yeah, definitely. I feel kind of bad, like just like sitting here smoking, laughing about, things with you like we were earlier. Like I just kind of like
It's okay.
it's hard though. Like I know that I live in this bubble of safety, but it's like people should be able to live safely in their homes, and that's what I'm saying is that like these people's homes were just like ripped into, people drug out of their homes, and murdered. And it, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't feel bad about having safety, but it's hard, it still just feels kind of shitty in a way, but it's like, it's my job to keep myself happy. So, that's what I'm supposed to do. But I definitely feel for people. I feel for mothers. I feel for family members, and I feel for people who were trying to accomplish things, like people who had goals, people who wanted to, they were working on stuff. I mean, to think about the person who, was putting together their fashion line and had just finished, sewing one of their favorite gowns, and now they're dead. Like I'm sure people are very creative. People work hard, people take care of each other. You imagine taking care of your grandmother for the past, 10 years, and then all of a sudden somebody kills her. I
I
mean, I
know.
don't know, maybe you're dead too, and so you don't know that she's even gone. But I will say, like one of the good things about people with religion is that, I mean, you get to go to a better place. At least that's kind of where my mind always goes when I think about people dying, is like, well, at least they're in, the best place ever. So, but it's like people still deserve the right to try to accomplish what they want to in their lives before it gets cut short.
I
People deserve
feel
to have safety. They deserve to feel
they do.
love. And
They
I
do.
don't I don't see that, these people are the people that are up against them. I don't see that they're trying to, like enjoy life. I know that people in Israel know how to enjoy life.
They do.
I've known many people who have lived there, and just I can feel the deepness in the culture, in the
It's
Israeli
beautiful.
culture. I've seen it, and it's with a big warm heart. It's really special. And so I just know, I know how painful, not completely, but I mean, it pains me,
The thing that I always come back to is the realization of what my family and what those lives and to all those people that are there, what they need is awareness. They need people to speak out because right now they don't have a voice that's strong enough. And yes, we are a small podcast, but I feel that it's so important that silence is not your best friend. Silence is your biggest weakness. If you cannot stay strong and stand by when people are in need, when you're in need, when you realize, like you said, that here we are, comfort and safety. And my own brother and sister don't even have that kind of safety right now. Yeah, they have the army. Yeah, they have protection, but you know what I mean.
No, that's absolutely terrifying. Like, okay, so you have two brothers and a sister that live there?
I have a brother and a sister that live in the West Bank.
Just the brother and sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I always imagine that you have more siblings than you do. I just assume
I
you
have
have like
two
a big
brothers.
ass bunch.
No, you're right. I have two brothers and I have one sister. I have one in California and then the two are in Israel.
Well, yeah, and now you got two brothers.
Yeah.
To me, like, I've never met your other two siblings, so I
My
don't know.
sister is very artistic. She actually was the
Yeah.
one that kind of also inspired me to cooking. She's a wonderful person. She really is, and it's a lot.
Your brother is very religious, right?
Yeah, my brother is he's a teacher and he's a rabbi.
So, is it really hard to become a rabbi?
My brother is actually a shochet, which is a kosher slaughterer.
Oh wow. Okay.
He went.
That sounds intricate.
He knows how to slaughter animals the kosher way. He's a rabbi and a teacher. He's been doing that for about almost like 22 years. So he's very creative when he teaches. He's a good teacher.
That's cool.
It's
What do you mean? Like, I don't know. That's actually really interesting. He's a very creative teacher. He's good at teaching. What do you admire about his teaching?
I admire his intellect on how he likes to open up on different subjects and really break them down.
That's cool.
It's interesting because each of my siblings were all creative in our own way. Like Mac,
Yeah.
he's creative in a business way.
Mhm.
God, Mac is like a genius when it comes to business. He's
a smart person, yeah.
He really is. He's very intellectual, very smart, very clever. I don't know. It's just I have an interesting family. Let's just put it like that. You have an interesting family too.
I have a lot of good memories with your brother. I think he's super special.
We're like the opposites of each other. We're like a black and white cookie. It's kind of funny when I get compared to Mac. I'm like, okay, you've never met us before. We are literally polar, like north and south, complete opposites.
You're so different. Like, it's absolutely crazy how different you guys are. I wanted to bring up that you got a tattoo today.
Yeah, it's Friday the 13th. And I got a Friday the 13th tattoo. You can't really see it, but it's...
I really like where they put it. It's on his arm, and it looks like a big knife, like a butcher knife.
Yes.
And, like a Halloween, like, butcher knife. Like, yeah. I don't know.
Wooden handle.
Yeah, the wooden handle. It's, like, got, like, a little hole in the top where you would hang it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good for chopping bones.
Well, I got it because I started working again in kitchens, but I also was like, it's Friday the 13th. And that is the one thing that I always loved about horror movies was just the use of kitchen utensils. Because if you know anything about Dave, I burn my fingers, I cut them, I slice them up. No, I really do. I slice, cut, burn, everything. Especially when I'm in kitchens. So
wait, that's crazy. We were just talking about, you got a butcher knife, but also your brother knows how to like butcher animals, like in a kosher way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you cook now too, and you've been in the kitchen like a lot recently, and you're getting kind of like cut up, and so like this tattoo is like a meaningful thing at the moment. Well, it will always be, but it's like meaningful. It's kind of like representative of this like moment in your life,
Yeah, I mean, this is the funny thing about me. I cannot get stupid tattoos. I like, there was just a board of dumb Friday the 13th tattoo. And I can't, I don't know. Maybe because I was raised Jewish and Orthodox with this idea in my head, but for me, I feel it's a good thing because I really have to think about, what I'm putting on. Because like this, yeah, it's like
It's crazy. Like I was like, where are you gonna put it? Like where's the spot? And
I
like there it
found it.
is. Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, her name is Constantina. She's an awesome tattoo artist in Fort Lauderdale, in True Love Tattoo. I have 2 tattoos by her. The Stitch one. This is the real Stitch. That's the Stitch tattoo. No, baby, come here. No, go away. No.
I realize this is the first podcast where Louie's not with me.
Oh, no, we need Louie because Twixie's
Louie has been laying in my dad's recliner with my dad like quite a bit. And last night I was watching TV and I was like, where's Louie? And he was in the other room in the chair with my dad. And I was like,
so cute.
Excuse me? Like I was like, what is this?
That's still really cute. Oh, come, stop it. It's really cute.
And I was like, I understand there's more room there. Like, I don't know. At least as long as he still only sleeps with me at night, like that's all I need is to snuggle Louie at night.
Okay. We'll keep it at that.
I have to have somebody to sleep next to.
It's really interesting actually because talking about Israel, Twixie is from Israel.
Oh, yeah. That is so cute.
And Twixie, I brought her to a rescue in an area, a neighborhood outside of Tel Aviv, and they were the one that gave her vaccinations. We took care of her ticks and fleas and eventually her worms. But just the amazing warmth and like caringness of the people that took care of her while I had her there, and the love of like taking care of stray cats. There are people in Israel, like, organizations, shelters. They have really affordable care, so you're able to take care of your animals. Like I had an affordable plan with her to get her shots and stuff because I really didn't have that much money. And just to think that all came from just wonderful people. And I'm proud to say, like, she's something I can look forward to. And she comes from there, and in a way she's like my representation of something beautiful and peaceful. But that's what I think about of Israel. I think of Israel as home, peace, a place to meet really awesome people, have great food, have a great experience, and meet all kinds of people. Got to be able to experience it. You really have to.
I wish I could afford it,
One day, honey, one day.
Yeah.
We got to go.
Yeah. I know. We're supposed to go to all kinds of places. That's the plan. Yeah, we were going to go to Rome.
We could do the podcast, by the way, virtually. So it's not...
We can still do the podcast from
we
Rome.
could still do podcast other places. We could rent a room in Europe to do podcasts. It's not that big of a deal.
I love how like I'm talking about like traveling the world and it's like, but the podcast will still exist.
Yeah, for sure. Like, why not? I mean, it would probably be a revenue paying for the trip.
I hope that that's, how life goes, is that I get to travel. I hope that I get to continue to experience, new things.
I feel like what you give out is what you receive.
I could see that. I'm not exactly sure how to give that out.
Like what we're doing right now. I mean,
just trying new things. Yeah.
Yeah, we're, we're kind of like a talk show. Yeah, we're stoner culture. Yeah, we're kind of all over the place, but it's all about coming back to the idea of how we feel, how I feel, how you feel, and our experiences. And at the end of the day, what is going on, what matters is what's happening to people. It's happening to your community. We forget when we were a community here in the United States, when we were proud to have an American flag, hanging on our lawn. We were proud to have an American flag on our trucks. when we were proud to be a country, when we were proud to be who we are as people. And I think that's what scares Americans more than anything, is because when you go to other nations, they're proud of who they are. We've lost who we are. We don't know what the fuck we are. That's the truth.
Well,
We don't
all
know what the
divided
fuck we are.
up. No, it's just a bunch of people who don't agree with each other. I don't know. It's because there's all these stupid distractions that they use to like divide us
Oh,
up,
for sure.
make us fight about things, and so we're all divided up. But that's all intentional,
Just
yeah.
breathe.
I don't want to know what the fuck is going on. Like I'd rather not know, but at the same time, it's anytime we get on the subject, I'm like, oh fuck, like, and that's why I don't let myself think about it, because like the person that I am wants to fix the whole motherfucking thing, and I am just not, I am not capable of it, so I just have to completely block it out altogether.
People will be angry at Israel for going to war this weekend, because this episode's going out Sunday. And the reason is because they have to. Again, when you're there and you're living there, just like here in the United States, when we have conflicts and people are like, what the fuck is America doing? Like, we live here. We're handling this the way that we need to handle this. And when that comes into play, that's not our choice. Right? It's not our choice. We don't make that decision when it's not in our backyard. And I feel, I've said this so many times. It's like boundaries is not telling somebody to shut the fuck up. It's realizing that you can't be on the other side because you're not on the other side. You're here. So stay here. You don't need to be there.
Yeah, you don't have to like choose a side, because as much as you even want to sit here and argue like you are for one, you're not part of anything that's happening over there.
There's no side. It's a funny thing. People are like, what side are you on? I'm like, there isn't a side. You're
not able to join one side or the other.
No,
like you live
literally,
here.
literally, there isn't a side. Like, you know what? This is like a dumb answer, but are we going to go back to the point where are we going to be like, this is the white people and the colored people? Do we really want to go back to that ideology? Like, what side are you on? Who gives a fuck what side you're on? What does that matter? What does it matter what side I'm choosing? It's like, to me, that is a form of discrimination. That is a form of categorization to its extremist level. And I don't want to have any part of that.
Well, I mean, that's another example of what I was talking about, where they always make people oppose each other. Like
Opposed
it's like,
of what?
Opposed to each other, like, and whatever the idea is that people are going to argue about, one side or the other. Men versus women. Like, God, skinny people versus people who aren't skinny. Just as fucking simple as that.
I know.
Like, but it's like, it's all the media. Like, it's like, it just is like pushed in your fucking face to make you hate each other.
What do you do about it? You know what I do?
I try to stay away from it.
Yeah, the truth is, like, that's what I was saying earlier, is too, like, I only listen to people that I know, and I kind of check in and, see what's going on from that viewpoint, because I'm just so tired of these people just talking about shit that they have no understand. I mean, like, bro, you live in a fucking penthouse in New York City.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, seriously.
I feel like I'm also just kind of like another person, like wanting to put my 2 cents in. But I feel like, we have a podcast. We weren't going to not talk about it.
No, you have every right to talk about this. I mean, first off, like,
I feel like so, like, I don't know, like hypocritical, like,
no, like,
being mad at other people for saying what they think.
No, like you've been around Israelis, you've been around me, you've been around Mac. Like you've been around.
I care about Israeli people because I
Yeah.
know them and genuinely care about them.
Like
Like
they've been a part of your life, you
well,
know?
yeah, living in Los Angeles, I feel like
You know, the
Jewish
Israeli people.
people have been very friendly to me and very welcoming. Those it's one group of people that have been, they kind of reach out. My really good friend Alex, she invited me over for many holidays, and her whole family is Israeli, and she tells stories about living there and stuff, and she's always so good to me as a friend. I got to see her right before I left town.
Isn't it funny? Whenever it comes to Israelis, everything's about food.
There's
Come eat.
food,
Come eat. Sit down.
food and
Make food.
damn good wine.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's some really good wines that come straight up. You know that's kind of the thing also, because Israeli culture is very mixed in from other cultures. Like for example, my family's Moroccan, so you kind of get that Moroccan twist that comes into it. And my dad spoke fluent Hebrew. My dad spoke many different languages, but it was so beautiful to, like, even when I saw my family out there, just to see the mix of cultures and just like the food, the wine. Even though it was 1948, try to understand this. Like, even though it was 1948, my family has been in Morocco since like 1036. No, like sorry, 14 something, like 1445 or something around there. And then they were in Spain before them. But like, think about that's there's like over a thousand years of ancestry for my family that now lives over there, right? So you have all of that history and ancestry that's now there, and then you have from 1970 something to now, all of that history stemming, continuing from. It's just, again, there's so many people like this. Ethiopians, Eritreans, Sudanese, Philippines, Christians, Koreans, Palestinians, Muslims, Jews, so many different types of people that, just like my family, they have all of their ancestry and history in coming to this place. And you have to realize just how much history, so much ancestry is being brought to this place. It's crazy. It's just like the United States, you have all of this history, all of these different places. We don't stop and think about people. You and me, them, us, all of us.
Well, yeah, there's no respect for human life. It's fucking crazy.
No respect for humanity.
Some people are just evil. There's no, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
you should be able to feel and be able to speak freely, but more than that, I feel that you have something that's so powerful is when you are, one of my best example is I once saw one of the churches in the old city, and I'm not Christian by any means, but I'm always fascinated by Christians. And I'm the type of person that, if I meet a Christian and they want to talk about gospel, I'm like, go right ahead. I'm curious. I sort of just, and.
Well, you and I both know, half of my Bible is a portion of yours.
The Old Testament, yeah.
Yeah. So you and I both know the Old Testament, and so we'll talk about it, from time to time, and I like to hear it from your perspective. But yeah,
it's so fascinating.
No, it is.
And it's funny because, like, I'm not religious by any means, but I am always fascinated by faiths. Islamic faith, Christian faith, all types of faith. And your experience with it and my experience seeing it, it's just, it opens your eyes to different possibilities. It's like, you don't have to be Christian to, like, enjoy Christianity. You don't have to be Muslim to enjoy
Yeah.
Islam. It's
Yeah, I don't have to be Jewish, to enjoy it. That's cool. Thank you.
yeah.
No, I think that's really nice. Like, it's a very like open. I It's an open point of view,
We
and
all
I think
stem from
that's
the same
kind of
places,
what's
kind of.
missing.
You think about it, we kind of all stem from the same trees and branches from culture.
I mean, we all actually genuinely stem from one area,
Pretty
in my
much.
opinion. Yeah,
Yeah.
I I think that people deserve the right of safety.
Oh, for sure.
It's just fucking crazy. Yeah, I don't like innocent human beings being killed. It's one thing when you take actual armies and put them against each other and have wars. I don't really like that either, but at least you have soldiers fighting each other. Which to me, I mean, I think it always gets nasty. Like, I don't think you can ever actually have, wars without citizens being murdered.
Oh,
But
for sure not. There's always casualties when it comes to war. I mean, for sure. Yeah.
I hate the word casualty. I remember when I
But that's
learned
what
what
it
it meant.
is. I mean, you want me to say piles of dead bodies? I'll say
Yeah.
piles of dead
That's
bodies.
why they use the word casualty, so that it's desensitizing. It pulls you away from what actually happened. You mean innocent person who got murdered in the midst of war? Like, and no one would say that. If you had to say that, God, maybe people might actually react to it. The word casualty is such a nasty way of like death. Pfft, the death.
Oh
Like,
my
what the
god.
fuck? Like, it bothered me so much when I learned what it meant. I was like, what is casualty? I think I had overheard the news and
Piles of
asked because
bodies.
I knew what casual meant, and so I was like,
It's
a casualty. Why are they
so
saying
that
this?
works in Hebrew, but not in English. It's kind of odd where you think like, oh, one word kind of sounds like that, so the other word will definitely sound like no. English is the
Yeah,
complete
that's an
opposite.
English thing.
It's like the other word. It's like though and thought.
Though,
Yeah,
even though,
even though
even though I'm high,
or now or
I still
no.
made a podcast.
Yeah, and I managed to survive this podcast. Isn't that surprising? I managed to not stone out this time. Wow, we're like going on in almost an hour and 10 minutes.
Hour and 10 minutes of two people talking.
About the conflict going on across the seas. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This is where I assume no one's listening anymore.
No,
So
you'd be surprised. There's definitely somebody that's probably listening, but
going all the way through. And they're going to make it to the very end of the
maybe,
podcast. Well,
maybe.
I always think once it goes this far, people don't listen as much. I'm like, we probably lost like a good half of them by now, you know?
Yeah, these pro Republican Israelites,
Do you think we're going to gain a bunch of conservative followers for it's not what I'm going for. I told you I don't align with either side. I wanted to tell you that my mom was like, Carissa, you should get registered to vote. And I was like, yeah, no. And I was like, it's my right not to vote.
It's my right to party.
It's going to be so upsetting to hear your kids say crap like that. Like, it's my right not to vote. I can't imagine. My mom grew up through like, the 60s as a woman. And it's got to just be so confusing.
God.
But to have your daughter be like, yeah, no, I don't want to vote.
Oh my god.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't like it. And I love my parents. I love that they let me voice my opinion and say the things that I say, and they honestly don't really get too mad about it or whatever, but I was like, yeah, I just kind of feel like voting is this way of like making people think that they have a voice, but like they're just going to do whatever they want. And they kind of like use your votes to like do what it is that they want, like, and they just trick everybody and it's like craziness. But
Way to
I
go,
don't know.
Carissa.
I mean, there's probably some things that I could vote for, But as soon as you sign up for voting, you're now signed up for jury duty. Did you know that?
All I know is, Carissa, congratulations as to killing the mood.
Because I was talking about my mom telling me to vote.
Oh, no. I was just making a joke. I kind of love that.
I'm a mood killer?
No!
Fuck you.
I was making a joke. Calm down.
Oh, you meant it. And now you hurt my feelings and you're like, it was a joke.
No, I've kind of meant it because like anybody that's talking about voting right now, they're just like, so hear about the 2024 campaign? Huh? You voting right now? Who you picking? Huh?
My opinion kills the voting mood. Is that what you're?
No, I don't know. I was being stupid.
No, I know what you mean. Like everybody getting really, really excited about elections and like voting, and like my parents get so much stuff in the mail. It all says like vote yes and whatever. And it's just people spend millions of dollars on these campaigns. And my mom said, like, oh, this guy is gonna spend $1 million to campaign in just Iowa. And I was like, wow, that money could really be used for something better. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's not like we have dangerous communities throughout the United States, or people that are homeless, or single moms that are struggling to make a living, or people that are struggling with student debts, or people that are struggling with debt. Do you want me to continue about all of the issues?
$1 million. $1 million to campaign in one fucking state. And it's just like, no, money can be used in a better way.
Yeah.
Like, ew.
Like getting a fucking tattoo on Friday the 13th, a true love tattoo. Okay? That is America.
How much does that cost?
$70.
Hey.
Not bad.
I wanted to send you money for your tattoo.
Still can.
So it's like, you're like, it still can. Oh my god, I make Iowa wages. It's terrible.
Oh my god, I can imagine. Well, question for you. I have kind of been working a little bit, kind of cleaning up the American Groove Pod page.
Hey.
So that is kind of the official way you can find Carissa. So if you want to message or learn more about American Groove specifically, we're going to start using that page. Yeah. At American Groove Pod on Instagram.
American Groove Pod. Give us a review. We need reviews.
Yeah. But like, especially after this episode, like, first take 6 shots of tequila and a good hit from the joint before you leave us the review. Just process everything we just said for like the past hour and breathe.
Like one sentence.
Yes. Just one, with a decimal. Please. Thank you. Anyway, if you want to check out more of the Vine,
I think we should definitely not edit this out at all.
No.
Dude, you gave me a really good laugh just now. Like, that was like...
Can you do it?
Okay, when David and I hang out together, this happens like way too much, where we both just like, our faces get like red and we're just like hyperventilating laughing.
Oh, I don't know why I'm laughing. Like, this has been a horrible, like, we've been talking about like really heavy shit, and I'm just like,
I think that happens though. Like, I think it's natural to like, kind of like, yeah.
Now
what else
talking
do you
about
do?
This being fucking natural? Like, what the fuck, Carissa?
No, I think people kind of do things like this to like cheer themselves up,
Well, look, as heavy as it is, we're strong. We have the ability to speak up and learn more about the podcast at Lost in the Groove Pod. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So, with that, we love y'all. We're gonna go because we're about to fucking start laughing our motherfucking assholes.
I suggest YouTube, because then you can listen to us and see us at the same time.
Yeah.
That's my personal favorite.
All right, catch you in another one. Bye.
Get lost.